Uh, I'm recording. Yeah, yeah. Could you please give me access to share my screen? Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Lou. Good morning. Thank you everyone for joining us. Today I'll be presenting my recent research titled Opinion Leadership, Customer Trust and Customer Feedback. The objective in this research is to identify if online influencers and customer feedback can change can build trust in other customers. So much research has been done on trust from different perspectives, but as far as I know, a few papers address the role of opinion leadership and online influencers in changing customers' decisions. The most recent findings indicate that online influencers' personal traits can change customers' preference. So in this research, we're going to dig deeper into the topic to see if online influencers can build trust in customers. Here's the list of topics I'm going to cover in this presentation. First, I will start with an introduction to the internet and World Wide Web, and then I will go through purchase decision making process and how online influencers can facilitate this process. Next is opinion leadership and trust, and then I will go over research questions, methodology, opt-in result, and finally I will wrap up my presentation with question and answers. So the development of the internet and World Wide Web has changed the norm of traditional businesses. Nowadays, people can purchase their needed items online without even having to make a trip. World Wide Web has gone through 3 generations since its first release in 1991. In Web 1 and Web 2, customers would receive their information from websites, and in the best case they could interact with websites. But Web 3 enabled customers and users to participate in creating contents. So thanks to the power of the internet and web, customer can open, people can open up their online stores through third-party platforms like Amazon, eBay, and OfferUp. So there's so many online stores that might sell the same product, but the challenge here is where to get that item from. When customers purchase an item, they go through a 5-stage process. It starts with need recognition, and then information search, and then they evaluate alternative, and in the 4th step they make their final decision whether or not to buy an item, and in the last step, in the post-purchase process, they decide whether to come back for repurchase or recommend those items to other shoppers. So that's a 4-step process for decision making. So the customer decision making process is a kind of forward moving process which starts with need recognition. Customers sense need by comparing their current situation with their intended or ideal situation. That need can be triggered by internal factors like hunger, thirst, greed, or external factors like advertisement. Besides those factors, there are some other elements like age, gender, income, education, race, and psychological factors that can trigger needs in customers. So the next step in the decision-making process is information search, where customers gather information from different sources on their intended products. So they gather information on those type of products that can fulfill their needs. They receive their information in active and passive mode. In passive mode, customers pay attention to conversation and advertisements. But in active mode, they actively search for their needed information in terms of product, vendor, brand, model, and etc. So when it comes to the information source, customers can get their information from personal sources like friends and family, or commercial sources like advertising or salespeople, and public sources like mass media. And the objective in this step is to minimize uncertainty about the product, vendor, and other information. So the next step is evaluation of alternatives. At this step, customers set some rules and define some attributes so they can shortlist their items in their choice set. So products and their items must have some minimum level and attributes to fit in their choice set. So they apply 2 rules in the evaluation of alternatives. When the attribute is important, the chance of dropping alternative items from the choice set is high, and when there is a positive correlation between 2 attributes, again the chance of cutoff is high. At the end of the evaluation stage, customers have all of their items ranked in their choice set, and in the purchase decision step, they can pick their favorite item and check out that item. So there are 2 factors that can impact a customer decision in this step. First is the attitude of others, like best friends or community pressure, that force them to change their mind, and the other factor is unexpected events like sudden rise or fall of price due to different factors. So these 2 factors can make them change their mind despite their intention to buy a different item. So after making the final decision, customers also need to make some sub-decisions with respect to price range, point of sale, time of purchase, volume of purchase, and method of payment. The last step in this process is called post-purchase, which evaluates customers' intention to repurchase and some post-purchase actions like leaving feedback or recommending the items to others. So there are always some uncertainties associated with the purchase process, and online influencers can facilitate this process by gathering information and comparing the alternatives. So past literature indicates that customers tend to seek advice from friends and influential figures when they're in uncertain situation because they want to minimize the risk, because in monetary transactions they try to minimize their risk by getting more information and making more informed decisions. So with the existence of several online stores, purchase decision has become much easier in terms of where to buy the item, but what causes problem in this process is what vendor to get their favorite item from all available options. Here's where the concept of opinion leadership comes into the picture. Opinion leaders are communicative, well-informed, well-connected to spread the word about a subject. They're usually considered the main source of advice and as the main driver of behavioral intention. And given the rise of social networks, they can contribute to product adoption and diffusion. So opinion leaders intermediate between mass media and final consumer of information, and they can play an important role in convincing people to take or not take an action. So this idea was first introduced by Lazarsfeld and his colleagues in 1944 regarding presidential election and how they can encourage voters to vote for or against a candidate. Their research identified that people who are less interested in politics rely more on their peers than on mass media to determine their favorite candidates. So one of the most important characteristics of opinion leaders is their innovativeness. This characteristic sets them apart from non-leaders, and these characteristics can be used to persuade or dissuade customers. So it's been proven that personal communication such as word of mouth has an important influence on customers' behavior than mass media, and opinion leaders can increase trust by decreasing social complexity and the perceived risk of doing business with a vendor. So as I just mentioned, opinion leaders can contribute to decision making by offering more information and also comparing alternatives. So trust is a behavioral intention, and some scholars define it as personal characteristics that develops in childhood and remains during adulthood. But from economic perspective, it is defined as a willingness to take risk with the hope that the other party would reciprocate that action. Trust has two elements: credibility and benevolence. Credibility is the compliance of the seller or trustee to fulfill his obligations, but benevolence refers to the goodwill of a person or party. So online leaders' characteristics affect consumers' behavioral intention toward the influencer, as well as the intention to follow their advice regarding a vendor. So we took advantage of this point to see if online influencers can build trust in customers. So followers or trusters trust the opinion leaders and their suggested vendor to have a mutually beneficial transaction. And we know that in uncertain situations like in monetary transactions, consumers trust someone to get that information to minimize the risk of their transaction. So given the reviewed literature on trust, leadership, opinion leadership, and customer trust, I've identified a gap between the influence of opinion leaders and old customers' feedback and their impact on customer trust. So I came up with two research questions. The first is if opinion leaders are able to change customers' behavior to the extent that not only they change their intention but also trust a vendor. And the second question is investigates the role of customer feedback in building trust. So by reviewing the past literature in this area, I came up with this hypothesis. The first 7 hypotheses investigate the characteristics of an opinion leader, like their reputation, innovativeness, expertise, communication skills, frequency of communication, quality of information in terms of accuracy, completeness, and timeliness, and their charisma. In these 7 hypotheses, I hypothesized that there is a positive correlation between trust and these characteristics of an opinion leader. Hypothesis 8 refers to the situation where multiple opinion leaders recommend a vendor. And hypothesis 9 refers to the situation where an online influencer is sponsored to advertise product, vendor, and etc. And hypothesis 10 and to 12 are about customer feedback in terms of referral, positive rating, and comments, and the impact of these elements on customers' trust. So this picture shows the main constructs of the research. We have 3 constructs: opinion leadership on the left side, on the right side we have customer feedback, and in the middle we have customer trust. So we want to see the interrelationship between these factors. So I designed a questionnaire and adapted from previous research, and then started collecting data. My main research subjects were online participants invited via LinkedIn, and student, staff, and faculty at Ball State who were asked to participate in the survey through Communication Center. Third group were students at MCOP who took the survey through Research Pool, and the last group were my students in 3 courses, CIs 226 to ISAM 210, Section 4 and 5. So I received approval from the IRB to collect data, and we conducted data collection from August 13th to November 20th. 375 samples were collected, 52 of them were incomplete, and so we dropped them from the data set, and the other data analysis were performed using 323 data samples. So for data analysis, I performed factor analysis. and then correlation analysis to find the relationship between these constructs. And after correlation, I performed a regression analysis to see the effect of those factors, influential factors, on customer trust. So after data analysis, uh, I got these results. Hypothesis 1 through 8 were approved, meaning that the opinion leaders' personal, their characteristics are positively correlated with customer trust, and also when multiple online influencers recommending a vendor, it has positive correlation with customer trust. But the other factors like sponsored advertisement and customer feedback in terms of rating, comments, and referral were not found to be influential on customer trust. So it indicates that the customer trust, after the regression analysis, I found that the customer trust is impacted to a large extent by online influencers' innovativeness and the number of influencers, and to a lesser extent by their reputation, communication skills, expertise, and information quality. But as I mentioned, sponsored advertisement and other customer feedback did not have impact on customer trust. There was no correlation between them. So this result is consistent with previous research, which defined innovativeness as the main characteristics of an opinion leader. So the other research also indicated opinion innovativeness as the main characteristic of an online influencer. And here's the questionnaire that I adapted from previous research regarding customer feedback, opinion leadership, and customer trust. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions. Good morning. Sure. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Could you, excuse me, could you please say that name again? Hyperthermic, dermic. Sure. Okay. Needle. Okay. Okay. Let me. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. What about a vendor? What about vendor? Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Uh, yes. This research all started when I started following a kind of YouTuber. Um, he specialized in mechanics and cars and etc. So I followed his advice, and that was truly beneficial to me. So he would recommend several vendors or sub brands vendors, and like he would recommend Toyota, but not all Toyota dealerships. So he would recommend some certain like vendors and go ask them because of their these characteristics, because of their offer and etc. So personally it was beneficial to me. So I decided to go into that topic and see the relationship between that. So I trust that guy, and as a result of my trust to that guy, I trust his recommended vendors. So that's the whole point. Generalize, I should never generalize it. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. Exactly. Absolutely right. Some opinion online influencers are not necessarily expert in their area. Most of them are they have good communication skills, and by these skills they convince people, as politicians do. So they have communication skills, but that does not necessarily mean they have the knowledge, expertise, and etc. Um, I appreciate these points, and would you please share that file with me? So I will make some changes in my research paper, and hopefully over the break I will get it done and submit it to a good journal. I appreciate your time reviewing my paper and providing important feedback. Any other questions? Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you very much, Dr. Burnham. Thank you, Lou. Thank you everyone. And yeah, thank you.